Hey YouTube, figured I'd do a little bit on my Tanto Umnumzaan. This is a True North knife special edition. My wife bought it for me for Christmas. It's a very, very, very nice knife. I love it. On the Umnumzaan over the 21s and the old regulars and the old classics, the thing you get that you didn't get on those is a textured handle. And the other change is they use the stop pins, or the thumb studs, I'm sorry, brain fart. The thumb stud is your stop pin. You see where it hits against the frame, like a strider. Instead of having a separate screw with a washer as a pin in the back. That removes one whole screw from the equation, and instead of having just a standard screw for Chris Reeve here, similar to this, with a standoff that works as your stop pin, they went with an oversized pivot. It's very, very robust. The aluminum is thicker, the blade is thicker, and it's the same clip. And of course, on all the new models, you get the little titanium lashing point for the lanyard. One of the things everybody complains about are the neoprene type O-rings. I can't remember what they're really made of. It's not neoprene, I don't think. Whatever the material is, they complain about it being on the thumb studs. I didn't like it at first when my buddy had the prototype, but I've grown to like it a lot on this knife. It makes the opening very quiet. You almost don't even hear it close. Just a little bit of lock bar. See that? Now, people are complaining about them falling off, or they might fall off, or they might wear out, or dry out. You know, I've read a lot of stuff on these, and it's an exceptionally robust part used in motors and motor mounts and all kinds of other things that see a lot more weather than this knife is ever going to see. I highly doubt that they're ever going to come off, dry out, or tear up. But if they do, they're not required for the knife to function. If you can see, it rests on the metal, not the rubber. So other than being a shock absorber, when you flip it open for the titanium, it doesn't need to be there. If you remove them, it will not affect the knife. If they fall off, dry out, or rot, it will not affect the knife. I think Chris Reeve put them there because when you flip it, that little bit of rubber is going to help shield this hook of titanium from the impact of the thumb stud, which is another ingenious Chris Reeve idea. There's good jimping on there. It lays low if you choke up on it. Get your thumb and do some work. It's almost like it was made for you. It's very nice that way. It doesn't have the rounded spine of the Suspenzas. It's squared off but well beveled all the way down with a swedge coming to the point. And the difference in this S30V blade from the standard is that it's a Tanto point instead of your standard drop point with the swedge and hook on the back. That was the reason I did not buy an Umnumzaan when they came out. That point and that swedge were very sharp, enough that you can scratch your nail up just like that, and it was pretty brutal. And when closed, that point was sticking out right here, and I didn't want to keep jamming my hand in my pocket and finding that corner if I had anything else in that pocket, which I generally don't. This knife also, aside from the classics and the Sebenza, classic Sebenzas, the regular Sebenzas, and the new 21s, has what they're calling a glass breaker on here. I've seen it used by Orimoto and some other guys, and it seems to work okay. I think as good as any other piece of steel would. It's not carbide. I find it more useful as a way to open the knife, especially left-handed, because that thumb stud is slightly blocked by the ram or the lock bar, whereas this side has a nice open pathway. I find you can just push that and then grab the thumb stud. It's much more useful to me that way Because if I had to get out of a car, I wouldn't be worrying about my knife, especially if it was sinking. I'm going to open it and jab it with the blade so I have my hand that much further from the glass. I've broken a lot of windows in my time, and holding something like this or like this and then trying to smash a window and having my flesh that close to it would just lead to one more injury I don't need if I'm upside down in a car. I mean, maybe you'll think I don't want to deploy a knife at that point. Yeah, it could be. Maybe I'll use it the way it was intended, but chances are if I can get to this, I'm going to smash it this way. I'm going to jab it and keep my hand a little further away from the glass. I mean, you're getting cut going through anyways, but might as well try to minimize it when it's around your wrist. So, it's a very, very fine knife, bead blasted, of course, S30B steel, of course, titanium scales, of course, and you'll see the standoff has a little groove in it. It's kind of nice. I don't know if those standard Umnumzaans do or not, but you'll notice that these are the only 2 points holding these scales and blade together. This is not a screw. You'll also notice, if you're familiar with these, that that is not the lanyard that comes with these. My original Christmas knife from Reeve, from my wife, had a mar on the blade. It was absolutely minor, but you know, it's a Reeve knife. So I sent it in and I asked him about it. And I said, I called him and I asked him about it. I said, should I send it into the guy I bought it from and ask for another? Or do you guys want to see it? They asked to see it. They took it in. And they looked at it and they said if it falls into normal. It's from the tumble media. But we understand it's a little bigger mark than you want on there. Don't worry about it. We're going to make you a new knife. How's that for customer service? They said it falls within normal parameters, but to make you happy, we're going to make you a new knife. That's what you pay for when you get Reeve. Also on the original, I wasn't real happy with how far the lock bar went over, because when I squeezed it in a hard grip, it seemed to almost touch. And as you see, the lock bar's close, but you got to remember the ball bearing's in there, and it's almost touching. So I called them and asked them, and they said, well, it's just another concern. Send it in, send it in. And when I did, they said the lock bar was also within spec, but we're going to make you a new knife. Don't fret. I said, thank you very much. And they manufactured me this brand new, beautiful blade. When I received it back, though, I didn't have my original lanyard, which was tied in the new knot with a titanium ring. And being it's Saturday today, I believe it's January 22nd, they're closed. I received it yesterday. They're closed on Friday. I'm going to wait till Monday, give them a call, and mention it. I'm sure they'll send one out to me. And then I'll have to figure out a way. Maybe I'll mention I got to buy a tool or something, or maybe they'll send one. Who knows? But it's a very, very nice knife. The ergonomics are very nice. The blade is beautiful. Beautiful. It opens and closes as smooth as any Reeve should. A little tighter because it hasn't broken in yet. You guys got to remember that ball bearing is about halfway into that bar, so the ball bearing is setting at about 50%, even though the bar is over further. The original prototypes, on the prototypes, the texturing went across onto the lock bar, and it had 2 ball bearings instead of 1. That's the major difference. It also said Umnumzaan along this line here, and 1 of 20. Otherwise, it's pretty much identical, other than my Tanto tip, which I hope you guys like, because I really like it. I don't really have anything on me at the moment for a size comparison, but I laid my small Insingo down next to it earlier, and if I started the handle at the butt, it ended about where my finger was. I believe this is a 3.75 inch blade, give or take 3.7 inch blade. So it's not too much, it's just right in my opinion. The grip is perfect to me, it's very contoured, and I like it a lot. I just saw the time and I'm running out, so everybody stay safe, and thanks for watching.